Hi all, and welcome to this month's First Friday Club. As you will have noticed, we are trying a different format for this month to previous. So the fact that you're listening to this means you've been sent this podcast prior to Friday the 4th of March, which will allow you to listen to the content and then submit any questions you may have that can be answered on a live open session at 12 o'clock UK time on Friday the 4th. The subject matter for this First Friday Club is maximising value, specifically linked to Autoglass, and you can see the agenda from the slide that's currently in front of you. So, just to set the scene, let me give you some leakage numbers from the UK that are relevant to 2015. Approximately 64,000 opportunities are lost either in the abandoned rate, agents not declaring opportunities on the system, or customers not fully submitting their details from the website. In addition to that, 100,000 opportunities are lost at appointment, and a further 120,000 opportunities lost at retention. This First Friday Club will focus on what I am doing in the UK to reduce these numbers and how they link directly to activities that we've been speaking about on previous First Friday Clubs, such as recognising and capturing all our opportunities, and reactivation and regeneration. Plus two additional topics. One is selling leads to the competition, and the last one, call quality frameworks. Paul will then also focus on the activities to improve product accuracy and reduce empty tours. As due to damage assessment and product ID errors, and the incredibly high mobile rate in the UK, 2015 saw approximately 50,000 empty tours. This is where we've arrived at a mobile job, but we could not complete it. This obviously results in poor customer experience, as well as costing the business approximately £4 million. Let me start with recognising and capturing opportunities. In the UK, there is an independent audit team that sits separately from the customer contact centre. They check the quality of our calls, they provide additional feedback on leakage, whilst running this measure for us to see how many opportunities are not being captured on the system. Through our continual focus and communication and education, we have reduced the amount that are not being declared, as you can see from the slide. For me, this is a fundamental standard that we must get all our people raising every opportunity on the system, whilst at the same time focusing on converting those opportunities and increasing TNC. Ultimately though, by increasing the amount of opportunities that you do declare on the system, TNC will reduce. But as the French have already proved many months ago, this does also increase the amount of jobs that you do actually complete. The next steps for me in terms of the UK to drive this number even lower, as well as performance management, is to also consider this being a part of the revised Customer Contact Centre incentive bonus scheme. So let me continue talking about recognising and capturing, but more specifically about the abandon rate. In quarter 2 2015, the Autoglass abandon rate was approximately 20%, which was far from ideal. And what I wanted to know was how many of these were opportunities. So this is what I've done. I completed a number of deep dive exercises using a methodology via the voice channel to measure how many opportunities were being lost. This methodology, which is available to all of you, has given me a clear understanding of that volume of opportunities. Now, having conducted a number of exercises to recontact back these customers, again via the voice channel, the ROI wasn't great and isn't great. So I'm about to embark on implementing a digital approach moving forward to gain as many opportunities back as we possibly can, and the digital methodology I'm going to be using for this is specifically SMS. The final piece around recognise and capture for the UK is about online customers. In 2015 there were approximately 7,500 customers that for whatever reason completed all their details on the website but didn't press that final submit button. Within a couple of weeks I'm going to begin to start to extract this data and conduct some deep dive exercises. Following that deep dive, I will, like the SMS I've just spoken about, use variations in terms of A/B testing to establish which content gets me the best results, as well as understanding why customers haven't completed their journey end-to-end online. Moving forward, this is something that Steve McCullough and Stephen Payne are pushing through with every business unit supported by Ed Colley, as there is an expectation that all Belron business units are actually doing this. Moving on to regeneration and reactivation. Clearly, there is an intention to recontact 100% of all our lost opportunities. Today in the UK, we're approximately recontacting 13% of our regeneration pot by a combination of using the digital and voice approach. There are a number that we don't recontact as we sell the leads to a third party, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But today, recontacting customers is resulting in approximately 300 additional jobs each month. By the end of March, we will be clearer in understanding the volume we recontact through the increased digital approach, which will give me a better understanding of those that we do not contact due to quality issues, such as wrong information, no contact details, etc. This allows me to focus on quality issues as well as understanding the impact on the jobs completed and the use of different versions of templates to assess the best results by looking at specific leakage reasons and the success against each of those groups. My approach towards regeneration and reactivation comes primarily from the US, and what you can see in front of you now is an example of how they actually try to regenerate their work via an email, where they send this directly to their cash customers. I also believe the Netherlands are adopting this approach very, very soon, again using a digital approach. As part of my objective is to increase job volumes, I also want to understand the following. What communication works best? When is the best time to recontact our customers? What toolkit items work best, such as wipers? And what leakage reasons are specifically being addressed when we're actually regenerating and reactivating? And using a combination of A/B testing will help me understand where to go next and the approach I take going forward. The intention longer term is to have different messaging sent to each customer, perhaps even including video content so they can actually just click the link, see an agent directly talking to them and selling the benefits of using Autoglass, culminating in a direct link back to the Autoglass website so they can book directly online. Now let me talk to you about selling lost leads, which isn't a brand new idea, as Carglass Italy are already successfully selling leads to their second brand. In the UK though, this is a pilot, and a fee is paid directly to Autoglass from a group of independent companies for that opportunity. Let me describe the process to you at a very high level, and if you require any more information, please don't hesitate to contact me. Only applicable to cash customers in the UK, where through the experience of the advisors they deem that it's not worth recontacting again through the regeneration process. Instantly the opportunity is presented to the independent via a website or through an alert, and the quickest to respond will get the opportunity to contact that customer and make the sale for themselves. So I'm sure you'll agree it's quite an innovative idea, and as I said, if you wish to have more information and ask me questions on the call on Friday the 4th, please feel free to do so. Lastly, and before I pass you over to Paul, let me talk to you about a core quality framework that we've introduced into the Autoglass business, And this has been introduced for a number of reasons. One of the reasons being that the old framework was outdated, and secondly, it didn't necessarily focus on the current business needs. As much as this is a coaching tool for our team managers, it's also a measuring tool for our agents so that we can gauge their performance and identify areas of coaching needs for them. When I was talking about the business needs earlier, there's 4 specific areas of the business that this core quality framework focuses on. First one is compliance, which is the legal piece in terms of certain things have to be said on certain calls. It's also about getting it right first time and stopping additional calls later on, or red calls. You have to have the appropriate average handling time, so there has to be an element of control in terms of the call. Clearly we're here to convert, so there is definitely a conversion focus in terms of this call quality framework, ensuring that the focus is given to sales. Lastly, we need to be having great conversations, showing empathy, building rapport with our customers. So an element of customer connection is actually built into this framework. To date, the process that we've gone through to deliver this is we've gathered some external knowledge and we've coupled that with our internal knowledge. We've now had draft 1 produced, and each team manager has gone through coaching sessions and training sessions to understand the framework, whilst at the same time being able to feed back into the current framework that we have. That's then produced draft version 2 of our call quality framework. We're now in the position to hand this over to our internal learning and development team so that they can train all 350 advisors. Whilst doing that, we'll adapt the framework to incorporate all other channels. So currently today, yes, this has been built just for the voice channel, but we will be adapting it as we go forward. And the view is to roll this out across the whole of Autoglass, not just a contact centre deliverable. So I'm more than happy to share this framework with anyone that wishes to have a look at it, and in return I'd love to look at your versions of your frameworks that you have in place also. So thanks for listening to my part of the First Friday Club, and I'm now just going to hand you over to Paul to take you through the product ID section.
As you heard at the start, product ID errors combined with that high mobile rate has caused problems for both the business, but more importantly our customers. I'm pleased to say that recently Dave Carter has been placed in charge of product ID in the UK. With previous experience in both operations and supply chain, Dave will be working cross-functionally across the business, as well as with myself from the centre, to make significant improvements to the number of empty tours, focusing primarily on the following 2 areas. The Gateway pilot, which is looking to maximise VIN usage, improve the customer experience and prepare for the increase in online bookings, and exploiting photos for damage assessment. Just before we hear about those activities, I'd like to talk about product ID measurement. Today, the Belron measure shows an error when the product booked on the appointment is different from the one we end up invoicing. If that product change is made before the appointment itself, then there is very little impact to either the business or the customer, but it's still classed as an error in the current reporting. For this reason, I do not think that this reflects the real impact, and this is why I'm talking more about empty tours. When we go to a mobile job with the wrong glass, or when we cannot repair a job, that is a business empty tour. And when a customer drives to one of our locations and cannot have their damage repaired, or we don't have the correct glass ready for them, that's a customer empty tour. And these are the numbers I really want to understand. Working with Sven Hill at Autoglass, we're developing a measure that will tell us the exact number of visits it took to complete the job. As they are almost 100% mobile, this will be able to tell us the number of business empty tours we had and the number of customers that we left disappointed. The Gateway pilot. One way in which empty tours for replacement jobs will be reduced is increasing the number of products validated using their VIN or VRN and ensuring it's done in an accurate and consistent manner. The selection of vehicles checked in this manner today has a higher level of accuracy, so we know it can be achieved. The aim of reducing empty tours by at least 5,000 would mean savings of almost £500,000. This has been a challenge so far due to the volumes involved and the current manual process. By automating it and reducing both the errors and the AHT on any calls, empty tours and costs will be reduced. The gateway has logic that allows it to check sales history first before going to HPI, the UK external data source. This minimises the need to spend on that external source, and then the OE code to Eurocode translation is taken care of by full integration with the TMD. You can see from the screenshot here that all the relevant information is returned to the user, and in this case using the VRN. This pilot does still mean a manual process, but all the data sources are in one place, which is not the case in the live process today. And our next steps will be to integrate the whole process into the job booking system for all agents to use. The pit lane specialist team will then only have to deal with any exceptions to this process. Looking longer term, the aim will be to plug in other sources of product ID data into the gateway platform, so that, for example, the Spanish pit lane team could be receiving and returning their products using this application. Lastly, an update on the use of customer photos for damage assessment. Here are the results from a 9-week period for one team in the Sales and Service Centre last year. During that time, 160 empty tours were saved. Now this approach has recently been launched across the whole Sales and Service Centre, we can expect to eliminate up to 10,000 repair empty tours across the next 12 months, which equates to around 25% of the current number. This confirmation email now goes out automatically with every repair booking to request photos from our customers, and to support this there are 2 next steps planned with the voice channel. We'll include instructions for taking photos in the customer IVR message before they even speak to an agent, including what to do and why it's important. And lastly, there'll be training for agents in the Sales and Service Centre with instructions on taking photos to aid damage assessment, and again why it's important and easier for the customer. We will of course also be looking to keep this message consistent across the online channel as well. So to summarise, we can see the gateway VIN validation and the repair photo ID initiatives sitting at the booking and waiting stages of the customer journey. These are what will be delivering the reduction of 15,000 empty tours to cut costs and improve the journey for our customers. And that concludes the product ID section. I hope that you found the last 15 minutes or so useful and interesting. With regard to the next steps, it's over to you all. Unfortunately, I'm unable to join the call on Friday, so please can you submit any questions that you may have on all of the topics you've seen to Mark and Stephen this week before Friday. 2 example questions at the bottom of your screen now. Then, when you dial in as normal on Friday, those guys will endeavour to answer these questions for you and any others that come up during the call. I hope that's all clear, and thank you for your time. Mark is looking forward to welcoming you to this surgery on Friday.